So silicon and system debug are affected by really the same high-level trends that we see in the semiconductor industry, like increased design size and complexity, like more not just bigger designs, but heterogeneous designs with a lot of various content, and complex packaging. These two things combined also result in a much more complex test access architecture, like we're using packetized networks like Tessent Streaming Scan Network to deliver test data. We're using high-speed IOs like PCI Express to apply and access test patterns. And on top of that, we also see much more complex and bigger software loads. In parallel, we also see that the lines are blurred with respect to what's being done in what environment. So for instance, we see that we bring up, apply, and debug scan patterns not just on a tester, but also on a bench and also in the full system. Likewise, we're also applying the system software load not just on the system, but also, for instance, in the test environment. So all of this means that things are getting more complex, and we also need to somehow bring the expertise from all of these different domains into all of these different environments where we need to do any form of silicon or system debug and bring up. So debug and bring up is really about visibility, right? So we need to somehow untangle that complexity so that we can get better access to or more insight into what's happening inside the chip. So if we start on the tester in the test environment, we need to be able to, first of all, separate problems in the test infrastructure from problems in the content. And if there are problems in the actual test content, we need to be able to map these failures to where exactly what core, what block, what memory is it that had a problem. And that mapping needs to be automated so that the test engineer doesn't need a PhD in DFT, right? So what that boils down to is that we need a new category of applications of software that provide that automation in the test environment or whatever environment that we apply structural patterns in, whether that's on the tester, on SLT, or in the system. Now, if we start to look more at functional content, for years, we've been using this concept that we call scan dump. So to be able to run functional load, run software, and then if the system hangs, for instance, we can then capture the image of the design through the scan chains to get like a high resolution image of what happened when this problem occurred. And with the more complex test architecture and scan chains not being, it's not just about scan chains anymore, we need to be able to support scan dump in context of more complex test infrastructure and whatever tester interfaces and environments that we apply these on. Also, while scan dump can provide a kind of very high resolution static image, functional monitors like Tessent Embedded Analytics provide a more dynamic picture of how the system behaves when software is running. So functional monitors consist of things like bus monitors and other types of tracing and instrumentation that can help us understand what exactly happens when the software operates. Why is this core behaving different than that core? Why do we see performance problems? And that again allows us to get a more dynamic picture, not just for pure debug, but also for performance analysis of the system. We see that many chips today have an in-system or in-field test requirement as well. And many of the techniques we talk about to simplify debug also apply when we are looking at the continuous health monitoring of the device. So for instance, we can continue to use scan dump in the field to be able to capture any type of problems that we might encounter after, let's say, a software update. And we can also use the functional monitors that we talked about to complement other in-field test methods like Tessent in-system test, and also complement parametric monitors and other types of sensors to continuously monitoring the health of a device to get a nuanced picture of not just how it whether we see defects, but also how it behaves in terms of performance and power. And these Tessent Embedded Analytics functional monitors can supplement Tessent in-system test and these other sensors in a complete system lifecycle management or SLM solution.